I put a transphobe in her place. Story time. My best friend is a transgender woman, so as you can imagine, her life is not easy. She gets a lot of hate just for being who she is, but I am always there to defend her. But unfortunately, one of the people that hate on her is her own mother. Like growing up, her mom was just never okay with it. And she would always say horrible things to her, like she's stupid, she's worthless, she's not her child, just like awful things. So one day while we were teenagers, I was over her house having dinner with her and her family. And at some point during dinner, my friend expressed to her mom that when she turns 18, she wants to look into possibly getting her breasts done. You know, just to feel more like herself. Well, her mom started flipping out, and she ended up saying something really rude. And her mom goes, just because you go and get your breasts done doesn't mean you're a good fit to be a woman. Now, I always protect my best friend, so I said, just because you go and have a baby doesn't mean you're fit to be a good mother. And she was real quiet after that. I'm convinced my neighbor is a serial killer. Story time. So I have this really creepy neighbor, and we always catch him doing these really weird things. Like, for instance, we saw him coming out of the woods late at night covered in dirt. He even got the police called on him once because he was peeking through our other neighbor's window. Like, the man is just really weird. So a couple nights ago, it had to be like 1 in the morning. My family was woken up by loud banging on the door. Now, we're all freaking out, so my dad goes to answer the door. But when he opens the door, my neighbor is standing there, and he was covered in what looked like blood. So my dad obviously questions him, and he's like, what do you want? Like, what are you doing here? And my neighbor's like, oh, sorry, I thought your kids would be home alone. I just came to check on them. Well, my dad was not liking that answer, so he started arguing with the man. My mom ends up calling the police. When they got there, they couldn't even really arrest him because he didn't do anything wrong. And I was like, what about the blood? She stapled a note to the back of my head. Story time. So when I was in high school, there was this girl named Crystal, and Crystal had a huge crush on me. Unfortunately, I didn't like her back because, I'm gay. But, that did not stop her from trying to date me. And every day, she would leave me a note on my desk asking me out. And I would always say, sorry, Crystal, I'm gay. And she would just be like, okay, maybe for now you are, but tomorrow you might not be. So naturally, it started to become extremely frustrating. So the last time this happened, I went up to her in the hallway and was like, girl, look, this is not gonna happen. I'm sorry, I do not like girls. I do not like you. I am not interested. Like, play with somebody else, girl. Don't play with me. And as I was walking away, I felt something hit me in the back of the head, and it stung so bad. So I reached back there to see what it was, and it was a freaking note that she wrote me stapled to the back of my head. Crazy bitch. I killed my supervisor. Story time. So I used to work at this store, right? And everything was great there. We all got along. We all liked each other. But the most liked person at our job was our supervisor, who I'm gonna name Ernie. He was so nice and so understanding, and everyone loved him. But it was Ernie's last day at the job because he was getting older and it was time for him to retire. So me and the other employees decided that we were going to throw him a going away party. So a couple of us left work early, went out to get food and decorations, and then went back to work to set up the break room for Ernie's going away party. And everything was going smoothly. All we had to do was wait for Ernie to go into the break room to surprise him. Well, when he finally did enter into the room, I had a tiny horn in my hand and I blew it in his face. Well, the noise must have shocked him because he fell over backwards. And he did not get back up. We had to call an ambulance to come get him. He never even made it to the hospital. He died inside of the truck. But yay for retirement.
I, 19 female, started working at my job about 2 months ago, and I got my friend, also a 19-year-old female, a job here about a month ago. Over the past week, she got her friend a job here as well. Normally I wouldn't care, but she knew I had a problem with this friend in particular. We were texting about her when I found out she was going to be working there, and my friend asked me why I didn't like her. I told her that I thought she was bossy, demanding, and self-absorbed. She just said okay and moved on. The next day was my first day working with this girl, and I was being friendly and peaceful because I didn't see a point in making the environment hostile.
Very mature.
Yes. Good on you.
You should have dumped out her shrimp fried rice. Really set the mood.
And then shit in her locker.
Soon after she got there, though, my boss pulled me aside and told me The girl saw what I said about her, and I got written up and was forced to apologize. I did apologize and didn't put up a fight over being written up. My friend said she only showed her the text to see if she could think of something her friend did to make me feel that way.
Bad
so we
friend.
could maybe work it out. But nothing specific happened. I just hate her personality. And I really thought that she said nothing specific happened. I just hate her personally. And I was like,
Eric was like, I really vibe with that.
I really vibe with that.
I just get bad juju off this beat.
Listen, sometimes you just get a feeling this person hasn't done anything to me that make me not like them. But I have a feeling. See you through whatever ruse you've got going on here. And I know you're a shitty person.
Yeah, and
And then when I turn out to be right,
you're all like, don't talk to me.
And now, Erica, may I ask, what happens when you turn out to be wrong? You were just-
nothing. I just hate them forever. Later, my friend apologized to me, saying she didn't think her friend would do that. And while I appreciate her apology, and luckily her friend is quitting, I was still written up for this, even though nobody involved was at work or clocked in while it happened. So am I the asshole, and did I deserve to be written up?
She's already quitting? For what?
Hostile
Hostile?
work environment.
I mean, personally, I just hate her.
My 23 female husband, 29 male, last night accused me of cheating after he learned I had a hemorrhoid. I'm completely devastated, and I can't seem to convince him to his, or my, satisfaction that I didn't and would never cheat on him. He noticed when we were about to have sex that my butthole looked a little different, as it does when you have a hemorrhoid, and immediately asked if I'd cheated on him. I already told him earlier that day that I was having some pain, and even about a week before, too. I tried explaining to him that hemorrhoids happen sometimes and that they're natural, and it's certainly not because I had anal with someone else. His response was that they're not normal for me. That's true. I don't get them often as an adult, only one other time in 3 years we've been married. And he thought I was cheating then, too. But I still didn't cheat, and I can't explain why or how it happened to get one. And I'm hurt and angry.
Why is he so adamant that she's cheating?
Ruh-roh.
Glass
Is
house.
he-
Projection?
Is he projecting? I think
Maybe.
he's projecting.
How many times has he had anal sex and gotten hemorrhoids? Maybe he knows something we're not privy to. He treated me like a cheater, withdrew all affection, and won't talk to me like a normal person again. What can I do? Can I convince him? Is this crazy at all, or would most people respond like him?
This is crazy.
That's crazy. This is a totally, completely normal reaction from a totally cool dude.
I drove 2 hours to surprise my boyfriend and found out that he left for the week. It's me and my boyfriend's first year away at school. We're both from the same town but went to different schools and they're 2 hours apart, so we've both made the drive many times and it's worked out great. My class was canceled tomorrow, so I decided it would be fun to go to Victoria's Secret, get some candles, massage lotion, and then go surprise him tonight. I got to his dorm and saw that his car was still in the parking lot, so I figured I had some time to get it cleared with his roommate and surprise my boyfriend. I texted his roommate and asked if I could let myself in, and he said of course, but my boyfriend had gone out of town for the rest of the week. I was confused. His parents have a house in Imperial Beach, but he always wants me to go with him. I called him and he said that yes, he was going, but he was still in town getting some stuff together. I asked him if I could come with him, and he said no, it was just a boys' trip. I told him that I was actually in his dorm parking lot and wanted to surprise him. He gave me this very condescending, "Oh, that's nice." I asked if he could at least please come by and see me, or we could meet up since I went through a lot of work to put this together. He just dismissively said, "No, I can't. We're already on our way." He then said that maybe he could come next weekend to see me, but I should just drive back, and then basically hung up. I looked at Find My Friends, and it turns out he was literally passing by his dorm as we were talking on the phone. He could have easily stopped by and said hello, and this really hurt. Maybe it was stupid, but I called his friends and they all said the same thing. The thing that's so sus is that none of them are going, and it's some random friend he's going with that none of them have ever met, but I shouldn't be suspicious. It's like all of them were coached into saying the right thing in short notice because they all said the same thing. I mean, I guess I could look at it like they all said the same thing because it's the truth, right? However, every one of my alarm bells is going off. This is so unlike him. Even if he were going there, he would have told me first. This is the first time he's ever gone without telling me or without inviting me. Maybe I'm a young, dumb, paranoid girlfriend, but my instincts are telling me something is up. What should I do here?
I opened an OnlyFans account during the summer to help me pay for school, and everything was going swimmingly until I shared my Amazon wish list. Amazon does not give out your address to anyone who gives you gifts, but third-party vendors can, which is where I went wrong. This is a terrifying story, and I felt compelled to share it. I got a puppy in late July. I brought him outside to use the restroom at 2 a.m. one night. I observed an automobile parked outside my family's home as he was performing his thing. I noticed a figure in the car and I could tell they were looking at me, but it was pitch black outside, so I couldn't see their faces. I grabbed up my puppy to take him inside, feeling a little apprehensive, and as soon as I started moving, the automobile parked in my driveway. I dashed back inside and shut the door, but they never came close to my home. I went to check the mail the next morning. There was a $20 envelope addressed to my OF name, but no note inside. I was still at home with my parents who were unaware about my OF account, so I didn't tell them about it. But I was aware that someone knew my address, but I didn't know who it was. Maybe that third-party vendors. So to get the hell out of it may be safer, I returned to my college town a week later to prepare for the start of classes. I had temporarily halted blogging until I could figure out how they obtained my address. I've seen enough crime shows to realize there's a chance I'm in danger. For the record, I live in a duplex with a secure parking lot, so I believed that I was safe until I was planning on vlogging my trip to Target one morning because I was thinking of launching a YouTube account soon after OF felt frightened. My car had been robbed and my vlogging camera was taken when I returned. I know it's my responsibility for leaving it in my car, but I was using it the night before and didn't believe I'd be in any danger because I live in a gated community. It wasn't in plain sight either. I'd stowed it away in my glove compartment. That camera was used to film my content, and the SD card in it had all of my previously unreleased photographs and movies. I'm sure they only took it for the SD card. Anyway, this is when the story starts to get strange. We were able to witness this individual break into my car and find the camera because there are cameras outside in the parking lot, and they didn't touch any of the other 7 cars on the lot. They recognized my car, implying that they had been watching me for a while. They walked around the duplex until they came to a halt near my window after getting the camera. My bedroom has a window that faces a busy street, and my shades are damaged, so it's easy to see in. I have a curtain, however, it doesn't completely cover my window. This lady sat and watched me sleep for about an hour. I'm not sure why they didn't try to break in, but I'm grateful they didn't, and I saw everywhere I go they were gonna follow me. Luckily, they just followed me, but this was stalker behavior. Those scenes that I saw were creepy as hell. The camera was then sold to a pawn shop, and because I knew the serial number, the police were able to track it down. My SD card, however, was missing. The police are still looking for them, but I've broken my lease and moved to a different location, so maybe that will keep me safe.
Am I the asshole for calling out my kid's future stepmom for treating me like a surrogate? I, 29 female, dated a guy, Joe, 30 male, for 3 months before he left me to go back to his ex, Kim. Right after we broke up, I found out I was pregnant. I let him know and he was ecstatic. Turns out his girlfriend had fertility issues and would likely never be able to get pregnant naturally, and he has always wanted to be a father. Joe was only allowed at the initial appointment because of COVID, and we found out I was having twins. According to Joe, when he told Kim, she had a mental breakdown about infertility and wanted to talk to me. I met them at their house, and Kim stated that she wanted to be involved in my pregnancy because she would eventually be the children's stepmother. She started telling me that I needed to do a home birth, that I needed to do formula feed so that they could have the babies half of the week, that she wanted one boy and one girl, and that she wanted the kid to call her mama. I shut her down and said I would make the best choices for my children and my body and left. When it came time for my 20-week level 2 scan, they allowed me one guest, and Joe suggested I take Kim instead of him, which I refused to do. Joe did end up coming, and he found out the gender because I wanted to keep it a surprise for me so we could throw a gender reveal party. I put a pregnancy announcement on my social media, and then she put up an announcement saying they were expecting twins, quote, the non-traditional way, and how blessed she was. I was irritated, but I kept my mouth shut. Then she threw a gender reveal party and posted it on social media. I wasn't even invited. She also announced that she's having a baby shower. I commented on her post and told her to stop treating me like a surrogate. He and Kim and some of her friends and family are saying I'm an asshole. And her mother even called and insisted I give her one of my babies, like this is the parent trap. Am I the asshole?
Am I the asshole for chipping dog poop into my neighbor's front yard? I bought my house about 3 months ago, and when I moved in, I noticed there were a couple dozen lumps of dry dog doo-doo on the side of my front yard. Before I mowed the first time, I went out and picked them up with a plastic bag. The next day, I noticed a couple more fresh turds on my lawn, so I kept an eye out for the culprit. It didn't take me long to realize that my next door neighbors have some sort of Benji-looking fluff ball of a pooch that they let out unattended a couple times a day. The dog would sniff, run over in my yard, and poop every time. It was as if they were trained that way. The daily poo accumulation rate seemed to be 2 or 3. I hardly knew my neighbors, so I was hesitant to approach them with this sort of issue right out the gate. Am I the asshole for chipping dog poop into my neighbor's front yard? One Saturday afternoon, I saw my neighbor out front while I was tending the garden. I said hello and then started a simple conversation. I mentioned the poop and said it would be nice if they could pick up after their dog. My neighbor then blamed it on a stray. I trained my video doorbell to poop zoom and set the sensitivity to high. Within a week, I had a robust collection of evidence. I'm no poop pathologist, but I knew the poop in the yard was from that doggy butt. I didn't go into forensic detail, but asked my neighbor's wife to pick up the poop. She also denied it. I pulled a pitching wedge out of my golf bag and proceeded to chip dog scat from my front yard into my neighbor's. It also gave me a chance to work on my short game.